What up, what up, what up? You were live and direct on... Oh, I almost called it the whole wrong name, baby. It's Petty Sports, the podcast, brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. It's your boy, Famous Fees. They call me Facts. I caught it, though. So we got my man Adam zooming in, straight COVID-y. What's popping over there on the Zoom?
Hey, man, what's going on? You sounded a little COVID-y over there, potentially not getting the show name correct, man. But you know I had to pull my best on the Aaron Rodgers impression, let the team know that I wasn't feeling too well. So had to keep everyone safe, but so happy to be in the show tonight. Y'all, last week was the championship edition. Now we got the COVID edition. So let's get it going, Fees. What we got, man?
Yes, sir. We got a full slate. I know y'all heard about all the headlines. We got a top-flight wide receiver that's on the waiver. Actually just cleared the waiver wire as a free agent. We're going to jump on that right off the top. But, you know, we're going to cover this last week, week 9 of NFL action. It was some crazy upsets. I mean, damn near all the top teams lost last week, so we got to dig into that. We're going to revise. Well, not revise. We're going to jump back into our power rankings coming into week 10, let you know where everybody stands, give you some dark horse rankings. And, you know, we got to jump into Saturday. Saturday was crazy. And no, I'm not talking about college football. UFC 268, Canelo versus Plant. It was all kind of fights going on at the same time. I had the dual screens going on. It was a great night. So, yo, as usual, one more time, get your popcorn ready. Get you a good smoke. Get you some Jameson. We ain't even going to tell you to just get your drink. Get you some Jameson. Take notes. It's about to go down. We're going to run this thing right off the top. Odell Beckham Jr. He cleared waivers yesterday at 4 o'clock. He is now officially a free agent. Has listed off his teams that he says that he's willing to go to. He said it's between the Green Bay Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the New Orleans Saints via the reports. Of the 3 teams that he's looking at, or if you have another team, where is the best landing spots for OBJ?
Man, so, you know, I want to say my boys, the New Orleans Saints, but when you talk about OBJ, you know, still being in that kind of superstar caliber class of wide receiver, you know, he always wants the ball. He always wants to be involved in the offense. And not that he couldn't be involved with New Orleans, but does he really trust Trevor Siemian to throw him the football? There's speculation out there that maybe Michael Thomas didn't want to come back because he wasn't really confident in Trevor Siemian not having Jameis Winston. But if we're talking about a true team out of those 3 that you named, Fees, it absolutely has to be the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers literally targets Davante Adams on over 50% of their passing plays. Allen Lazard, St. Brown. We've seen the guys out there that can't truly stay healthy for A-Rod when the time comes. And if you just want to talk about Aaron Rodgers finally having, you know, a surefire number 2 weapon. Yeah, we saw a little bit of Bob Tonyan last year who went off, you know, at the tight end position, but he's not necessarily doing the same thing now. But could you imagine Davante Adams, OBJ, maybe sprinkle in a little bit of those 3 and 4 wide receivers? I mean, we already know Green Bay's offense can absolutely pop. So adding a guy like OBJ, Aaron Rodgers has a big personality. So does OBJ. Maybe it would clash, but I would have to say the Packers would be the for sure landing spot. Chiefs have too many weapons, and I just don't think the Saints would give him enough of what he needs right now in his career.
I mean, the Saints have nothing that resembles an actual quarterback play, so I don't really see why he would even consider going there. I mean, other than the fact that he's a Louisiana boy. So, I mean, that's probably the only reason he's considering the Saints whatsoever. I mean, that's the only reason that team is on that list, because they don't have anything for him. No quarterback, no nothing. No Michael Thomas. There's no help. I mean, before he would go to the Saints, it would be a better look for him to go to the Patriots. At least he could get out there with Mac, and he would have a squad where he would be the featured wide receiver. It could help them. But between the other squads that he's got, although Green Bay does look like the better option because of the fact that Davante Adams is getting like 54% of the targets out there and he's got no one else to throw to, I still think the Kansas City Chiefs would be a better look for him, just for the mere fact that I don't really think Odell is like, I just want to go to a good team and get a Super Bowl. He wants to go somewhere where he can actually stay and finish out his career, or at least have very good and productive years and possibly get another contract. You look at Green Bay, after this season, Aaron Rodgers might be gone. Davante Adams, he could be on his way out because this is a contract year for him as well. If he goes to the Chiefs, everybody has figured out the formula. You double, possibly triple Tyreek Hill. You let Kelsey get his. You can shut the rest of it down. And you've seen Pat Mahomes start forcing balls with an Odell out there. That completely changes that dynamic, and he probably would end up being the open wide receiver on a regular basis. He can replace McCole Hardman way better than him. think it would be a better look for him in Kansas City. Granted, I wouldn't want to see it. I would like to see him go to New England because I've told you multiple times over the past 2 years that I was waiting on New England to trade for him. Now he's available. Go ahead and give him the money. But between the squads that he says, Kansas City Chiefs are definitely a better option for the long haul. Green Bay right now, Kansas City, if he's actually trying to look for somewhere to stay.
Interesting. I'm surprised that you took Kansas City there, but respectable. You explained yourself. So, of course you want him to go to the Patriots fees. I mean, I want him with the Saints, but I will say, though, Mac Jones could do more than
we actually have a quarterback.
Simeon could right now. Exactly. Exactly. He might be a rook, but he's doing great so far, so hats off to him.
Oh, yes. I mean, we'll see that. This is probably going to happen very soon. I mean, I have heard that Green Bay offered him the veteran minimum, and he's absolutely not going to take that. So that's probably not going to happen. So we might could just go ahead and X Green Bay off the list. Then when his team start taking themselves out of the race, have to add more in there. Bill, make the call. Y'all all see the meme, actually the GIF, the meme, all the little video of Bill Belichick walking out the tunnel in Detroit. I know y'all know what it is. They put the WWE music behind it. He's coming.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Every single time. Anytime there's a free agent, you see the Belichick GIF.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
It's like when the Saints last year said for about 2 seconds, oh, yeah, we'll trade Kamara. Here comes Bill walking out of the tunnel. Like, don't give Bill the chance because he'll make the move. He will. So, Wesley, Jamila, Michael, what's up? I see y'all out there in the Facebook chat. Y'all call the show 678-871-9602. Just because I'm in COVID protocol don't mean anything is different. Fees, let's keep it rolling, man.
Yep, yeah. I see Mike. He agrees with me, too. He says the Chiefs upgrade from Hardman. All the same reasons. I think he typed that after I said it. He was listening to knowledge. Me. So, man, let's jump into these Week 9 games because Week 9 was off the chain. I mean, almost every single team that we considered to be a front runner for the Super Bowl or at least a high-level contender, they all lost. First and foremost, the most ridiculous game of the weekend, the Jacksonville Jaguars just straight up stunned the whole football universe and took out the Buffalo Bills 9-6. How in the hell did the Jaguars hold Buffalo to 6 points? We have regarded Buffalo as unquestionably the best team in the AFC coming into the week. I mean, they have had a couple of blunders, and they've had a couple of really good games, but what happened out there? Like, is this really spelling trouble for the Buffalo Bills?
I would say that it's going to spell a little bit of trouble here for the Bills because when you look at how Buffalo has played really through the entirety of the season, that's why I came off of Josh Allen a little bit in some of my MVP rankings. That's why I don't necessarily have the Bills, I think, now going as far because we've seen this team go cold for quarters, halves, maybe games at a time. And I think this was finally one of those games where everything came full circle. You can't let yourself go cold, even against an 0-8, 1-7, 2-16, whatever the case may be, if you're playing a bad team in the NFL. But I think, the overall tendencies, like I said, that we've been seeing from them through the season, I've said it both times against the Dolphins, it was a little nothing for about a half or a couple of quarters. You saw it with the Texans through 2.5 quarters. What's going on there? You saw it against the Steelers, who, yes, now are a 5-3 team. But at the time, the Bills had absolutely no reason losing to the Steelers. But I also think a little bit of history actually has to play into this. So this upset by the Jacksonville Jaguars was actually the 7th largest upset in NFL history since 1990. It was a 15.5-point spread, actually, for Jacksonville. They come in, absolutely win in a game with no touchdowns. But believe it or not, the Buffalo Bills are actually involved in 4 of the biggest point spread upsets in NFL history, only winning one of those, and I think they were an underdog by 16 points. But it was a crazy weekend. We can't sit here and dig too much into it. It was a crazy weekend. There were a lot of upsets out there, and it was a lot about Josh Allen on Josh Allen. I know social media has been going crazy. He had a pick off of him, a couple sacks, some tackles, a recovered fumble. So it was just one of those games. Hats off to Trevor Lawrence. Hats off to the Jags, whether you want to give it to him or not. They got the W. So really no major explanation, but definitely something to look at for the Bills. They're a streaky team.
He said hats off to Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to have you put that hat back on, sir. Trevor Lawrence threw for 118 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, that's like first quarter stats.
Right.
Trevor did nothing. The game was just piss poor all the way around. There were 20 penalties in that game for almost 200 yards. Most of them were on Buffalo, so it was a really sloppy game. Only 500 yards of offense between the two teams. I mean, it was just a bad football game. But Josh Allen was terrible on third down. They pressured him the entire game. Not sure what happened to the line. No one's ever accused Jacksonville of having a juggernaut front seven that was going to just put heat on you all game long. So, I don't know what was happening out there, but, I mean, Josh, he looked rattled. I mean, the dude threw 47 balls and only had 264 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, 2 costly ones at that. I mean, each time that they actually did put together a decent drive, they turned the ball over. Between the 2 interceptions and the costly fumble, I mean, only 6 points. It was 6-6 at halftime. Only 3 points we got in the entire second half. And this is a Buffalo Bills team that we're talking about offense is so prolific that they're definitely were a Super Bowl contender. But now you've had extreme blunders in multiple games. You got shut down by Pittsburgh. We didn't see that coming, and we're like, okay, maybe that was an anomaly. It was a one-off. But after losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Buffalo needs to be put on high alert. I mean, that's cause for extreme concern. That's more than just a bad game. Jacksonville is a bad football team. Even if you had your worst week, you should not lose to them if you're as good as we perceive the Buffalo Bills to be.
Yep.
It's unacceptable.
Highly. They're a streaky team. And like I said, we've seen them go cold for quarters and halves at a time. And I just think you caught the Jags on a day to where they weren't messing around. And yeah, it was a game with no touchdowns, but it's just one of those odd games. And the Bills came out on the bottom. So, but either way, definitely cause for concern, like we said.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye out on Buffalo because that could be a problem. And it's a problem that I like. They're in my division. I'm here for it.
Man, I swear every division is so tight. It's absolutely nuts right now in the NFL.
Yeah, man. And we got the Cleveland Browns. They just thoroughly embarrassed the Cincinnati Bengals. That was an absolute statement game Sunday for Cleveland. So my question to you now is, are the Cleveland Browns moving into playoff form, or are the Bengals just fool's gold?
I got to say it's a matter of both. And, before the season fees, you picked the Cleveland Browns going to the Super Bowl. You believe something in that offense. You trust the running game. You can't necessarily ask Baker to make huge plays and win you a football game. But when you talk about, having playoff ingredients right now, people knew after last year, 11 wins, they're coming in with a lot of expectations. Nick Chubb being able to come back. I know he's going to have a little bit of COVID problems. And I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Kareem Hunt. I haven't looked that far into it. But knowing that they have, a top offensive line, knowing that they can run the football effectively, and that defense is absolutely going insane right now. I want to say they're top 10 in all defensive categories. We believe in Kevin Stefanski. But at the end of the day, if Baker can't make something happen with all of these pieces around him, I think you have to start looking at the quarterback position. But we knew, like I said, before the season coming in, they had the pieces to make a run. But now when you talk about the Bengals, and I've been saying it all year, I love the Bengals offense. When their defense gets going, they're one of the best in the league. But who in the hell is Zach Taylor? Who is Zach Taylor as a head coach? And he was on my hot seat coming in this year when you've got Joe Burrow, you've got Jamar Chase, you got an offensive line that you're kind of trying to work with, Joe Mixon in the backfield, and you have a defense that is now trying to acquire pieces season over season, and you're playing in a tough AFC North division. You're eventually going to get exposed at the coaching position. It's kind of like when we talk about with Kyle Shanahan right now. Yeah, he's had really one good year, but you can't continue to lump him into that elite status, And that's the thing with the Bengals. You can't really put them into that super contention status right now. Yeah, could they be a wild card team? Could they go to the divisional? Absolutely. But the question will remain, who is Zach Taylor? We know the Browns are fine. We know the Bengals can score points. We know the Bengals can be competitive, but they're only going to go as far, in my opinion, as their head coach. Look at the Browns before Kevin Stefanski. Absolute trash. Stefanski comes in with a slight tweak in the talent, and the team absolutely takes off. Who is Zach Taylor? That is the question to be asked for the Cincinnati Bengals today.
I think it's a matter of the Cincinnati Bengals really caught teams with their pants down to start this season. People were not prepared for how good the Cincinnati Bengals offense actually came out. And what we have seen after 9 weeks of football, the rest of the NFL has caught up to it, and they've realized that this is the Jamar Chase show.
Yep.
They tried their damnedest to get that ball to him all game. 13 targets, but he only had 6 receptions. They actually handed the ball off to him a couple of times. They figured, hey, he is the catalyst behind their offense. Joe Burrow is playing well because Jamar Chase is doing everything. They start doubling, making sure you limit his touches. If you cut Jamar Chase's production, all of a sudden the Cincinnati Bengals offense doesn't work anymore. And now teams have figured it out. They're going to have an uphill battle the rest of the season after what teams just saw that Cleveland did to them, because that was the Nick Chubb show on offense, which is what Cleveland is based upon. I mean, he damn near went for 10 yards a carry. 14 carries for 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was just straight up Nick Chubb killing. I mean, Baker had a decent game, but he only attempted 21 passes. I mean, he was decent, 14 to 21 for 218 and 2 touchdowns, but he didn't do much. But that's one of those games where his stats aren't really indicative. Because, I mean, we do dump on Baker a lot for not doing much and being a game manager, but they were up 24-10 at the half, 34-10 in the third quarter. It was no longer necessary for him to be throwing a football. So he probably would have had more numbers if Cincinnati could have been competitive in the game. But Cleveland does have a really good defense to go along with a stout running game and very good wide receiver. I mean, they're really just they're waiting on Baker to be spectacular, which he doesn't actually have to be. If they can play like this week in and week out, they'll absolutely be there at the end of the year when the playoff picture unfolds.
Yeah, and the Browns are so physical. They're top 5 in both rush yards per game as an offense, and against the run, they're top 5 as well. So you know they're going to be physical. Quick before we move here, Michael, great comment, man. As long as you can keep Baker under 20 attempts, that's the recipe. 100%, you don't want the ball in his hands. Like Fee said, if it's the Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt show, you'll be absolutely fine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. That's what I used to say about Dak when he first came into the league. Like, keep him around 20 attempts and get a ball to Zeke, and they'll win. Like, that's completely changed. Speaking of America's team, the Denver Broncos just embarrassed the hell out of them boys. 30-16, and that's not even indicative of how the game was, because Denver was up 30-0 at one point in this football game. It wasn't a game. So, I mean, should Cowboys Nation be worried about them boys? Or was that just a one-off game?
Again, it's a little tale of both, because we know that Denver has a good defense, okay? Even if they've, been scraping up some wins against these type of teams, they have a secondary out there. They have some sort of pass rush that can get after you. And when you talk about, the Cowboys coming in, and we've seen this in the NFL, when teams come in and they expect a W, you're at home, you don't think things are going to happen, and then you immediately get humbled. It's an any type of Sunday type of occurrence. And, we also saw this a little bit with the Cowboys. Now, the team is not exactly the same. But when it was, I want to say Dak and Zeke's rookie year, I think you know what I'm talking about. The Cowboys were like 13-3, 14-2.
Yeah,
everyone was feeling
it was
great.
13-3.
Right. Everyone was feeling great. They were making the run, and I want to say they get bounced out in the wild card of the divisional. I think with that year, after the Cowboys kind of searching for, I guess, their identity again. After the Romo days, bringing in Dak, bringing in Zeke, it was a little bit of a transition there. But understanding now. And so let's take it back a little bit. In that transition that they had, I guess you could kind of give them the excuse that, they're fresh into the system. But now, this is another year with Mike McCarthy, which I don't think was a good hire for head coach. But this is another year with Dak. This is another year with Zeke. This is another year with an amazing wide receiver core. And especially starting out the way that they did and playing sustainably, the expectations are going to be high, because we've seen the Cowboys come out 3-0, 4-0, and then they fall to, 5-6 or 6-8, whatever the case may be. This is a different Cowboys team. But again, when you walk in, assuming that you have a W, which is kind of what it felt like here for the Cowboys, you're going to get beat, and you have to realize that when you play against a defense of that caliber, it doesn't matter if you think you are that much better than that team. You have to go out and play. So we'll see how the Cowboys are going to do over the course of the season with having these expectations, because, we'll see in the power rankings and overall as the seeding plays out, they're going to be a great team, but what can they do in the postseason with Mike McCarthy? I got to look at the coach again. Who is Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, I think there'll be a couple of more games like this for the Dallas Cowboys, because I really feel like this is a product of them having such high expectations that they're not used to. It's kind of similar to how you look at the Cleveland Browns. Normally they're playing the underdog role, and they're like, we're going to come and shock the world, catch everybody by storm. Now you're expected to be that team. And I think the expectations have really gotten to their heads. They're listening to all the media. They're looking at the way they've been performing, where they're sitting in the standings with the number 1 offense in the NFL, top 3 in scoring. They're really feeling themselves, and this was a reality check. And I think this will happen 1 or 2 more times But it looks like we got a caller. Caller. Welcome to Petty Sports. What's poppin'? What's your name?
COVID caller.
It's Mike Fry. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got the resident Denver Bronco fan in the house. Mike Fry, what's good with you?
Not much, man. Just enjoying the show as always. Just wanted to make my little comments on the whole Denver-Dallas game. Basically, I would say it was more of a blueprint on teams on how they can attack Dallas for real. Because if you don't let Dallas jump into a lead, because they got a small defense, right? They fast, but they got small defense. So if you're able to start smacking them in the mouth and bully them early, where that defense, you start leaning, putting the big boys on them and start, pounding the ball, it kind of exposed that. The fact is that because they so used to, their defense for Dallas so used to playing with a lead and being able to tee off and use and go upfield and try to and playing from with a lead. But when you start smacking them in the mouth early and start controlling that clock and start controlling the line of scrimmage, I think it exposed Dallas quite a bit. And so I think to me it's more of a blueprint on how you can beat the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't think it was a blueprint. I think it was Dallas was not ready for all the hype. They've really been smelling their own flowers because everyone's been giving it up to them. Hell, I gave them the nod in my power rankings the last time. I had them at the top, and I was not the only person that put them there. I think they really just kind of got beside themselves before they came out in that game because Denver is not that good. And I don't think there's many teams in the league that's going to be able to do that to them.
And that's the key. But the only problem is not too many teams that has the type of offensive line and run game and defensive line to be able to do that throughout their schedule. So they're going to be fine. But once they get into the playoffs, that's when stuff slows down. And there's some teams out there that has that type of physicality that can be able to get them more on the trailing end and not playing with the lead all the time. And so once you start allowing them to be able to have to react, more so than just play fast, and now you got to start filling gaps, filling holes. Now those fast linebackers, which is small, you can start being able to really lean on them more. And Denver is not a good team, but one thing they do well, it kind of reminds me of the Cleveland Browns team. A team that's physical, that can run the ball, and that can play that time of a possession game with Dallas. I think them are the ones that can cause Dallas the most problems.
But Dallas has been in some of those games already this season. Like the season opener against the Bucs was a tight game. That was a 2-point ball game against what we thought at the moment was the best D in football because the last time we had seen them was with them destroying the Kansas City Chiefs. They held off in that game. They only lost by 2 points. They held off against the Chargers, who I don't think anyone would argue to say that is a better football team than the Denver Broncos. They also had another tight game against New England. We've seen them.
Yeah, remember now in New England, yes, because the other teams are more passing teams, so they like to throw the ball around the yard. Even Tampa Bay, they turned more into a Tom Brady passing the ball type team, but they weren't committed to the run as much. If you notice how many rush yards they had with Tampa Bay in that game, and even so a lot of those teams, like now I say with a New England type team, they just had to expose. And then also one last thing, and I'm gonna let you guys go. But
hold up, but since we got you with us, we can't let you make us skip the Kobe break. You're gonna have to take this jump shot with us, pimp.
Kobe break, brother.
It's 8:24. We ain't gonna lose it. Count me down one time, Adam.
3, 2, 1.
Kobe.
R.I.P. to the Mamba.
I can't see you, but I'm gonna assume you took that jump shot too, Mike.
Now, Mike, great call, man. Great call and great comments. And I really agree with what you're saying here because we've seen teams before be so good, have that offense that jumps out, but also at the end of the day, let's take the Ravens, for example. I think I can hear myself in the background on your end, Mike. But take the Ravens, for example. People always said they play great with a lead. When they're playing with a lead, you can't beat them, kind of like the Bucs in the NBA. But who are they when they have to come from behind? That's when I agree in the playoffs, you really figure out what your coaching is, what your true chemistry, how does this team perform under pressure? But let's also, not try to have some smoke and mirrors here. Dallas has played from behind for years now. Dak Prescott has had empty stats for years now. They've had empty points for a while. So when you saw this kind of loss against the Broncos and then you see them trying to come back into the game, but you knew it was never going to happen because it was already so out of reach. So yes, it is another new stage, for Dallas, but I don't think we can sit up here and really hold that standard to them, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think we lost Mike, but I know he's still in there in the chat. Appreciate you for calling in. But yeah, man, we have watched Dallas come from behind many a times. Like, they're definitely a different football team. I think this is one of those reality check, smack in the mouth type games. I wouldn't take too much stock into it at the moment. We'll kind of hold off on it, see what they do moving forward. I'm going to count that as their anomaly because we've given a lot of other teams passes for one bad game.
Wesley, go away, Jamila. Wesley, you need to be nice, bro. Put you in some other protocol over there, sir.
Man, we're going to finish up this these best games of the week before we jump into the power rankings real quick. No Derrick Henry, no problem. Tennessee Titans took out the L.A. Rams. Did the Titans put the league on notice on Sunday night with their W without King Henry?
I got to say, yeah. And, we know this Titans offense has a lot of pieces to it. We talked about it when they made the trade for Julio Jones, everybody that they had. Super Bowl contenders, Super Bowl winners. Okay, we heard it all. We absolutely heard it all. But when you talk about, and yes, Stafford did have some bad throws in this game to give it to the defense, but the fact that the defense was able to capitalize on both of the turnovers, not even put up 200 yards of offense in this game for the Tennessee Titans and still be able to come away with the victory without your best player on the field. Adrian Peterson was held to 2.1 yards a carry. So it wasn't even a factor of being able to effectively run the football. I think the Titans again and again and again, season over season, have shown you when you go to count them out, they're just going to come back 10 times harder. We've seen it in the year when they were 9-7 and they were able to beat Baltimore and they were able to go to the AFC Championship. They surprised a lot of people. Why did they get there? Because they were able to force turnovers. They led the league in turnover, not led the league in turnover margin, excuse me. They've been towards the top of the league in turnover margin the past few seasons. So when you see them come out like that, you know that they're a hard-playing team, and this team obviously just has so much more of a ceiling ahead of them. But Stafford as well. I mean, he didn't play well. And again, I don't even have to say it. I don't believe in Stafford late in the year. This was another big game that he had the chance to seize the moment, and he absolutely didn't. So not really a surprise there, but the Titans did put the league on notice, absolutely. Great record there for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in Stafford pretty much ever. I mean, but you knew that.
We know, Fees. We know.
But Stafford absolutely lost this football game. It wasn't just 2 interceptions. It was basically 2 pick sixes, and they were damn near back-to-back. I mean, the first one, they ran it back to the 2-yard line, and the second one they actually scored on. They were terrible throws. I mean, they really cost them the football game. Tennessee did nothing. Tannehill threw for 143 yards. And you just talked about the rushing, not just AP. As a team, they had 69 yards rushing on 26 carries. Tennessee's offense did nothing. It was all Matt Stafford's fault. He came out on national TV in a primetime football game and straight up wet the bed. You got Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford, and you gave up Jared Goff for that and all those picks? That's what you're going to get. Every playoff game is going to be on prime time. You're only getting one. When they make the playoffs, they're done. That's the Matt Stafford that we knew. They were 10-6 last year, went to the divisional round after winning a playoff game. They won't be so fortunate this season. They're going to lose in a wild card.
That's going to be so tough for the Rams. But I can't disagree, man. I don't trust Stafford when the moment's big. If he hasn't shown you already in the Cardinals game and in this Titans game where you were supposed to win this football game at home, Stafford's had 2 chances. He's 0 for 2. Don't really trust him when the stakes are even higher. Sorry.
Ain't going to be no home Super Bowl. You can cancel that. Man, we gonna move on to the power rankings going into week 10. We've had 9 weeks of NFL action. The league has been flipped inside out. There are quite a few teams didn't expect to be this good. Some teams, we already knew they were going to be there. So what are we looking like on your power rankings? Start from number 10. Who you got?
You want me to go 10 to 1?
Yes, sir.
Like all the way through? All right, cool. Just like last time. Yes, sir. Petty power rankings, week 10, Adam Lewis, COVID-19 protocol edition. Number 10. I'm going to have the Cleveland Browns at number 10. And, I think blowing out a top team in the AFC after cutting your best wide receiver per se is definitely something to be happy about. Baker was lights out on Sunday, which is good to see. Great passer rating there and didn't throw the game away. No fumbles, no turnovers. He was, very careful, rather, with the football. This is a very physical team. Like I said before, it's the second best rush yards per game in the league, and they are the third best against the run. So they're going to push you around. The defense is amazing, of course, and they're just going to get after your quarterback and make it really tough for you on the football field. Now, number 9, this one was kind of tough to put in here, but like you said, Fees, the league has been absolutely flipped inside out. Give me the LA Chargers at number 9, and they have slowed down a little bit lately, no question about that. 1-2 in their last 3 games, so we can see that there. And Herbert is scaling back a little bit as well, but everybody, it's going to be on a high low for some of these guys out here. He's still young in his career. But anybody can run the ball on them with them being dead last in the league in defensive rushing per game. And I still got to believe in Brandon Staley. He continues to let this team evolve week after week. They're definitely in better hands than they were with their previous head coach. But the playoffs will be something to be seen for this Chargers team. At number 8, give me the Buffalo Bills. And we just talked about them dragging them through the dirt. I think there's absolutely no excuse for no touchdowns against a bad Jaguars team. And like I said, I think this game was overdue for the Bills. We've seen them go cold before. So you can't walk in expecting to get a W and play like that. It's just not going to happen. But I got to give credit to Buffalo. They have kind of corrected their running game problem. They are 11th in the league in rush yards per game. Number 7, give me the Los Angeles Rams. And again, it was no shocker, that Stafford, yet again, crumbled in the big moment when he didn't need to. That was a big game for them. And to literally throw that away on your own arm, I think it's going to come back and haunt the Rams, no doubt. They can't run the football either. They're 20th in the league in running the ball right now. So all the pressure is on Stafford. So it kind of feels like the same that it was in Detroit. And who are the Rams going to truly be when Matthew Stafford has to make a big play in a big moment? We're not doubting McVay. Okay, we're not doubting that defense. It's going to come down to Stafford, the monocle, spectacle, whatever you want to call it, is going to be on him. Number 6, give me the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't want people to freak out because they got blown out at home. Denver does have a good defense no matter what's happened. You can see it in the numbers. You can see it in the secondary. And Dak is still playing great. The defense is still playing good. But if you get physical with Dallas, like Mike just said on the phone, if you can get physical with them, if you can push them around, make them have to work from behind, when their stakes are actually higher and they're trying to play well in the season, you could see that kind of outcome potentially there for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 5, give me the Baltimore Ravens. And, again, gone are the days that Lamar Jackson can't throw the football. From dead last in the league last year in passing yards to now 8th in the league this year. Still first in the league in rush yards per game, so they're going to crush you on the rushing side of the ball. And the defense does need to step up a little more, though. Believe it or not, they are 5th in the NFL, 5th to last. So 5th worst, rather, in the NFL right now in takeaways. They don't make it hard on the other team. They're not stealing possessions out here. That's why they're so physical running the ball. But pair that with some takeaways, we could be talking about Baltimore going really far this year, like some of us already do. Number 4, give me the Jeopardy boys out there. Yes, the Cheeseheads. The Green Bay Packers at number 4. And, I said it before, OBJ needs to be signing here. Get A-Rod some help. Put him next to Devontae Adams and just get this offense, overall clicking again. Because we've seen the Green Bay offense. It isn't really like it was last year. They're not out here absolutely lighting it up. And I feel like their defense is finally good enough to contend for a championship. But that will have to wait and be seen. Who is LaFleur in the big moments? We've seen back-to-back NFC title games. But at the end of the day, I do think the organization needs to quiet down a tad bit. They've had a lot of noise going on. And we've seen with teams, it's kind of hard to make a run when you got a lot of noise going on. Final 3 here. I'm throwing those Tennessee Titans in at number 3. Wesley, I know you're happy about this. These guys are 6-0 against playoff teams from last year. Mike Vrabel is absolutely crushing it. Continues to get his flowers. Continues to really make his mark in the NFL. But we knew who Mike Vrabel was, at the end of the day. And we knew the offense was going to click, like I said, but the defense being able to come around, making it easier. If we're talking about a legit Derrick Henry coming back for these playoffs, now it is going to be a little odd because he will be out for a while with a foot injury. But if all these pieces come together, the Titans are going to hold up to their expectations that they walked into the season with. Number 2, give me Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think them coming off the bye, they're all absolutely pissed. They're about to shred everybody in their way. We saw what they did last year after the bye week. basically going undefeated up until a certain point this year, coming from last season. Brady's, of course, continuing to play lights out. If they can get a little bit of corner help that secondary out, I think they'll be in an even better position. And, of course, number one, the Arizona Cardinals, my boy Kyler Murray. I'm loving what I see out of this team every week. No Kyler Murray, no Nuke, and you still go on the road. You still win that game. I understand it's against the 49ers, but let's talk about how balanced this team is. They're 9th in points per game, passing yards per game, 8th in rushing yards per game. Look at James Conner, 10 touchdowns this year, absolutely crushing it. 2nd in offensive points per game. 3rd in defensive points per game. They're 6th against the pass, and they're 4th in defensive yards. So they're top 10 in damn near every offensive and defensive category you could want. They're a very balanced team, and I'm excited. Now, the only reservation is, what are they going to be deep in the year again with Cliff Kingsbury? We're not doubting the talent. It's going to come down to the coaching. That is my top 10 NFL teams walking into week 10.
Okay, I'm not mad at it. I pretty much have a very similar top 10.
That is really shocking, especially considering how crazy this season is. I'm interested to hear.
I only have one team that's different from the entire 10. They're ordered differently, but only one team that's just completely not in yours or not in mine. So I'm going to start from the bottom. Exact same team in the 10th place, Cleveland Browns, 5-4. They've got wins over Cincinnati, Denver, and Minnesota. I mean, those are slightly impressive games. The Denver Browns, they do have – to the Denver Browns, Jesus Christ. The Cleveland Browns have quite a ways to go. I mean, there's a lot of football left to be played, but sitting at 5-4, they are at the bottom of their division, but they're still only like one game out of it. So, I mean, they have a long ways to go. They're not out by any stretch. The rest of the schedule is not that difficult. And, I mean, it was actually kind of hard to pick there because there are quite a few teams that are sitting one game above 500 that I could have taken there, be it Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, the Saints. A lot of teams sitting right around there. The Raiders. So somebody had to get the nod. If all of those teams played each other, I would take Cleveland, so that's why Cleveland got that spot. At the 9th spot, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. They're 5-3. They drastically dropped in my power rankings after that disgusting game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 9-6. It's not even so much the fact that they lost. It's the way that they lost. You got shut down by Jacksonville. You have problems. I mean, they have wins over Kansas City, Washington, and Miami twice. Miami, nobody. And you got Kansas City. They're not that good anymore. I mean, Washington, preseason, yeah, we were really high on them. Now, I've been on YouTube asking the Washington fans where the hell they went. Because they gave us pure hell about the predictions, and now they would be happy to win 6 or 7 games on the season. So I'm going to need you people to come back at some point. In the 8th spot, that is the only team different than what I have from you. I've got my New England Patriots sitting at 5-4 instead of the Chargers, who you had in there. They have a win over the Chargers, and they beat Carolina. They're 10th in points scored and 4th in points allowed. The defense is playing great football. They're 3rd in the league in takeaways. They are playing very good football. They're not turning the ball over. It's not a Super Bowl formula, but the number 8 team in the power rankings is winning a Super Bowl. That's absolutely good enough to make the playoffs. So I'm taking New England in the 8th spot right now. At 7, I've got the Green Bay Packers. They're sitting at 7-2. And I know that seems kind of low. I mean, they got wins over Arizona. They shouldn't have beat Arizona. One missed turnaround by A.J. Green, and Arizona wins that game. They barely squeaked by Cincinnati, and they beat Pittsburgh. I mean, they are 6th in scoring defense and 4th in turnover differential. You've got Aaron Rodgers playing really good, but as it stands, Aaron Rodgers should be facing a suspension. We're going to get to that later on in the program. But you're not going to be able to just straight Devontae Adams everybody all the way through the league into the Super Bowl. So right now, I've got them sitting at the 7th spot. They've just dropped just purely because of the way they're playing and what's all unfolding. I think all the drama out there, they're probably going to lose to Seattle. At number 6, I've got the L.A. Rams. They're also 7-2. Got wins over Tampa Bay. They beat Indy. They're 4th in offense, 5th in scoring, 10th in scoring defense. I mean, the defense is really actually out there showing out. The only reason they gave up all those points to Tennessee is because of Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford is the reason why they're sitting at the 6th spot and not higher, because they have pretty much all of the pieces in place. Their running game, as you mentioned, has been it's left a lot to be desired, but it's really a Matt Stafford thing. This team is not any better with Matt Stafford than they were with Jared Goff. Their ceiling is the wild card round, and it's going to be an extreme botch for them to have given up so much to actually pick him up as if he was going to be the savior in L.A. So I'm not sold on it at all. In the 5 spot, I've got Wesley's Tennessee Titans. I know he thinks that's low. He probably does. I'm pretty sure he'll jump in the comments in a minute. They're 7-2. They've got wins over Buffalo, Kansas City, Indy, and the Rams. So they do have an impressive slate of wins in just 9 weeks. But they're very run-heavy. You can't trust Tannehill in the trenches. When we really get into playoff football and playing against the better teams in the league, when everything is on the line, with no Derrick Henry perceivably for the rest of the season, you see the rushing game did nothing. Adrian Peterson seemed like he was going to be a big spark. He's yet to prove anything. It was one game. Maybe he might come out and do a little bit more. But with weapons like Julio and AJ, and all you're able to do is put up barely over 100 yards passing, and your defense scored just as many points as the offense, I don't have that much faith in them. The Tennessee Titans have been limping their way to W's over good football teams, and it's really kind of mind-blowing. At 4, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. They're sitting at 6-2. They've got wins over the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Colts. So, Baltimore has been looking pretty good. They have been coming from behind a lot, but they've been coming from behind and winning. All on it's just straight up been on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson. He's not been talked about much in the MVP race, but his team's sitting at 6-2. They're second in total offense, first in rushing. That is all Lamar Jackson. The defense really is not what we thought it was. It's Lamar week in and week out, figuring it out in the second half. I haven't yet to see them put together 4 quarters of actual football, but those 2 quarters that they give you in the second half, more times than none, has been enough to win football games because they're sitting at 6-2, and that's all on the shoulders of Lamar. I got them at the 4 spot. At 3, I've got the Dallas Cowboys. Previously we did the power rankings, and I had them sitting at number 1, but the way they got beat by Denver, that was a straight-up reality check, a smack in the mouth. Definitely can't keep them as high as what I had them, but they are sitting at 6-2. They're second in scoring, third in interceptions behind the crazy year thus far that Trayvon Diggs has had, and first in total offense. That offense is not going to be held down. The rest of their schedule is very weak. They'll have extreme confidence moving into the playoffs, so I don't think you see Dallas losing too many more football games for the remainder of the season. Sitting at number 2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6-2. They're coming off the bye week. They got wins over Dallas, New England, and Atlanta. I know it's New England and Atlanta, they're both actually in the playoffs at the moment. If they started today, those would be the 2-7 seeds. So they are wins over playoff teams at the moment, which I know that sounds crazy, but they're first in points per game, first in passing. Brady is an MVP front runner at the moment. And what we saw them do last year, they came out of the bye and they lost no more games, steamrolling straight through a Super Bowl. So what we can expect from them is more the same. They're going to come out of the bye week, and all of a sudden, Tampa Bay's defense, the offense, they're going to look like that straight-up juggernaut one more time. And at the 1 spot, as you probably already figured, the Arizona Cardinals. They're 8-1. They got wins over Tennessee, the Rams, and the Browns. 3 really good wins. Best record in the league. They got a W without Kyler Murray. 5th in offense, 4th in defense. Only team that's top 5 in both. They're 5th in sacks, 3rd in the league in turnovers. It's working on both sides of the ball. Their only loss was in a ridiculous last-second blunder by A.J. Green. They could easily be 9-0. So, at this moment, the Arizona Cardinals, without question, are the number 1 team in the NFL. So those are my power rankings. You see, they do look very similar to yours with a team moved here or there.
Absolutely. Great explanations there, man. The NFL is just going to get crazier. I can't believe Week 10 is already here. I swear I was just watching the Monday night game between the Raiders and the Ravens in Week 1, and now here we are. We're about to be talking about Super Bowl bubbles here soon, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So we actually keeping up with the time today. It's 8:45. That means it's time for Mike Bell to pay some of these bills. Let him know what it do, Mike BZ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Famous facts, fees. Ladies and gentlemen, we greatly appreciate you tuning in tonight, watching the Petty Sports podcast show with Adam Lewis and Famous Facts, fees, all brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studio. For everybody that shared the show, we appreciate it, man. Keep sharing it. Everybody that's in the chat room tonight, we see you. Jamila, Wesley, Mike, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Share the show. We greatly appreciate everybody for showing the love like you do every week, showing up here and kicking it with these guys while they give the best rundown in the A for our sports goes. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Go check us out on the different platforms, podcast platforms, iHeart, Apple, Spotify, Google, you know what I'm saying? They're all over the place, man. Subscribe, download those shows. Just type in Petty Sports. That's with a Z on the end of sports. Petty Sports. Go to YouTube, Book of Face, Facebook, you know what I'm saying? All that kind of good stuff right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Check them out, Instagram. They rocking all over the place. So check these guys out, man. So when you hit those notification bells and those likes and emojis and all that, they go a long way. Hit that algorithm and make, good things happen over here for these guys. So thank you so much. Go to Kingz Broadcasting Studio or KingzBroadcasting.com and share some love, spend some money. Hit that donate button at the bottom of the page. Buy some merch. You know what I'm saying? Go check us out. Help support the cause and what we're doing over here to help bring forth this good content like we do every week, right? You know what I'm saying? So thank you. Feel free to call in. We appreciate Mike for calling in earlier. 678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. All right? ATL, ho. Now back to the regular scheduled program.
Yes, sir. As promised, we was going to get away from football for a minute. We about to take this thing to the ring. Canelo Alvarez. They call him Saul. That's actually his real name. But, he just straight took out Caleb Plant. 11th round TKO Saturday night. It was a thing of beauty to watch if you were a fan of the sport of boxing. Adam, what did you see in that fight?
Well, Canelo Alvarez, we got to credit this guy with the immense knowledge and just awareness that he has for the game of boxing. He's the best boxer in the world right now, and nobody can tell me different. Canelo Alvarez right now sitting at the record that he's at with the poise that he has in the ring every single fight. And the one blemish is to Floyd Mayweather. Go figure. We could easily be talking about a technically undefeated boxer. I know he's got a couple of draws right now, but when you talk about, a main emphasis point of this fight, Canelo wasn't afraid to lead forward with the lead foot. He wasn't afraid to kind of show some fakes to Caleb Plant to where Plant had to guess, okay, where is he going to attack me next? Because we've seen Alvarez, he loves to lean forward on that lean foot just to kind of sway away. But when you feel like that energy is coming towards you, your opponent might not necessarily know what's coming for them afterwards. But this was a great fight, two superstars just going back and forth, punch for punch, round after round, until it got about to the 6th or 7th round. I felt like when Canelo just really locked in, put his head down, got his mind right, and just, separated and started making the gap there to where it might have been an 11th round TKO, which was absolutely beautiful, by the way. What an uppercut, what combos there from Canelo. You had that feeling that Canelo was closing in and he was going to take this fight. But I think he was clearly the aggressor in the fight, and Plant was, going back and forth with him, exchanging some body shots. He did have a nice shot on him to the face at some point in the match to where you did see Canelo exercise a good chin. But at the end of the day, you could tell that Canelo was going to win this fight. You saw with every body blow, with every lean, with every fake out, that Canelo was taking the advantage here. And, talking about the uppercut that actually, I guess, initiated that knockout in the 11th, when are people going to learn that Canelo has maybe the meanest uppercut in the game right now? For God's sake, he just broke Billy Joe Saunders' face. Okay, he had to reconstruct his orbital in the last match. Canelo literally said, yeah, I think I broke his face. And Saunders knew right when it happened, that was the big blow in his last fight. The uppercut in this fight was another major blow for Canelo Alvarez. I love what I'm seeing out of King Canelo right now. I can't wait for whoever's going to step up with him in the ring next. He's the best boxer in the world right now, and nobody can tell me different.
Oh, easily the best boxer in the world. I know I had a lot of people saying that Caleb Plant was the busier fighter. Like, just throwing random punches that aren't landing does not mean anything. Caleb Plant was getting stalked around the ring the entire fight. Canelo was moving forward from the beginning because normally he's a slow starter. It usually takes him 3 or 4 rounds before he really gets going. By the second round, Canelo was stalking him. And he was destroying his rib cage. I was getting hurt watching it. Like, I started to lose my breath. I mean, he landed 53 body blows in this fight, and you could see it. Like, he just started taking the steam out of him. All of those punches Plant was throwing was like, all right, like, you have nothing behind that because he's just been killing your guts. You have no more insides left. Probably broke your ribs, bruised the kidney. He did something to you that we don't even know about just yet. But I mean, even when you just look at the CompuBox stats,
spleen, bro.
It was like Caleb threw almost 100 more punches and still landed less. He was just swinging. I mean, Canelo came out, did what he had to do. I mean, he tactically just took that man apart. He at no point did it ever seem like Canelo was bothered, like he was hurt, or there was any chance that Caleb Plant was going to win that fight. I really was surprised at the scorecards when I saw them. I mean, Canelo was up on all the cards, so he would have gotten a unanimous decision, but he wasn't up by much. It was 96-94, 97-93, and 98-92. The 98-92 card, I feel like, is more indicative of what that fight was because Canelo won most of the rounds. For whichever judge that was that had it 96-94, he must be related to Caleb Plant. I don't know what the hell that's about. That fight was not that close. Like, for real. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that's you really have to start questioning the judges when you watch a fight like that. It's like, it's not like Caleb came out and laid down. Canelo's just a way better fighter.
Yeah, and Plant took some big shots in the fight, but when you're talking about the 9th round, the 10th round, the 11th round, like, that's going to be a hard knockout when the time comes. And as that fight goes on, you're going to learn to take those shots less and less. Apparently, Plant didn't, because Alvarez had a hell of a time with the knockout on the 11th round. So, beautiful fight. I mean, I'd love to see a rematch, honestly. Great fight here. And I'm ready, like I said, whoever steps up next to Canelo, it's going to be a hell of a fight yet again for the best boxer in the world.
I mean, now he's unified the whole division. He's got all 4 belts. So, I don't even know if he'll give him a rematch. Like, Canelo is like, he's looking for more. Right. He's looking to break records. I mean, what, Manny Pacquiao won in... What, he won 8 belts, or was it 8 weight classes? He's got something where he's got 8 of them.
Yep.
I think he's coming for that title. He's either going to move up, he's going to go back, he's going to do something to do more. I mean, he had the fights against Triple G. I mean, really, Floyd Mayweather is the only blemish on his record. I mean, I felt like he won. Well, the draw against Triple G, that was actually a draw, which a lot of people thought that it wasn't. It was literally 6 rounds to 6.
Right.
It was about as close.
That's going to be a hard knockout.
But I mean, he exhibited his chin in that fight. So we knew that there was nothing that Caleb Plant was going to do that he didn't feel when he fought against Triple G, and it showed. Canelo clearly has a good chin. He's a polished boxer, and ever since the Mayweather fight, he's been a different fighter. He actually fights similar to him ever since that fight.
You know, that's really funny that you say that, too, because when you watch... If you look at some of the tape between the Canelo and the Floyd fight and then the Canelo and the Plant fight, Plant was kind of playing that little defensive scheme that Floyd did, but you saw Canelo now as a mature boxer being able to, capitalize on that and actually being able to make moves there. Mike, I totally agree with your comment here. Canelo has punching power while retrieving. It is unbelievable, the skill level. And you saw that a ton in this fight. Being able to essentially throw your energy one way, but being able to revert back to also land a counter shot potentially. Like, there's very few boxers, if any, in the world that can do that outside of King Canelo. So, again, hats off. Hell of a fight. I love to see it.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to move on to the next round of championship bouts that was also on Saturday. UFC 268, the co-main event, Thug Rose and Zhang Wei Li. Thug Rose beat her by split decision in 5 rounds. That was a hell of a fight. She
Yeah,
won 48-47, 47-48, 49-46. I'm not really sure how that judge scored it 49-46. Thug Rose did not beat her that bad.
Right.
Weili, she really had something to prove. The way she got dropped by that straight one kick in the first fight. So, I picked her to win the first time because I've seen her fight many a time. She was 21-1 before that fight. She came in with extreme confidence and just got put to sleep with that foot. And she came back out. She cut her hair. She looked like a whole different person. I was like, wait, who the hell is that? I almost didn't recognize her. But, man, she came out. She fought strong. She was making sure she wasn't going to get beat that way again. She represented. But, Rose just proved to be too much. She's so herky-jerky. You can't really place where those punches and strikes are coming from.
Yep.
She's a difficult draw.
100%. This fight was a hell of a slobber knocker, man. And oddly enough, seeing how the first fight went and knowing the fighting style of Thug Rose and also Zhang Weili, I didn't really think it was going to turn out like this. And I know some people say that decision was somewhat controversial, considering that really either fighter could have won that fight when you saw how it was literally back and forth and back and forth. And, Rose was strike heavy all throughout that fight, leaning in and really throwing every punch that she could when she got the chance. And like you said, that's an advantage that she has, is she can be a little wiry, a little unpredictable, a little herky-jerky, and still come out and win fights of this nature, because she took some shots as well. She got popped a few times. She had to defend as well as Zhang did. And when you look at the fact that there were so many takedown attempts by Weili on Thug Rose, but it wasn't necessarily happening. I want to say Weili was 5 for 11 on takedowns, but Thug Rose was 2 for 2. So she might not have went for a lot, but when she tried to match that aspect of her opponent, she was able to get it there. And the fact that these, both of these ladies, with everything on the line, were just absolutely leaning in, swinging, ducking heads, throwing haymakers, just not backing away from the action. You could see it through 3 rounds of this fight. Zhang was arguably ahead. She was on the way to potentially win this fight. Thug Rose locks it down, of course, in the last couple of rounds. And really, once you had about 3 minutes left to go in the fight, all she had to do was keep her position and really her octagon presence, in order to get this fight underneath her belt. But it was a great fight. Seeing these two just absolutely duke it out. I didn't expect so many punches, so many strikes to be thrown in such a high-stakes match. But, hey, that's what we pay the money for. That's what we want to see. That is the Ultimate Fighting Championship at its finest. And, again, another great fight from a loaded Saturday, Fees.
Oh, absolutely. So real quick before we get to the top of the hour, we got to just briefly touch on Oozman versus Colby Covington. Usman just straight dominated for 5 rounds. Looked like the fight was going to be over in the second round. I really thought that when they came back out in the third, I'm like, yeah, this is a wrap. Yeah. But it was just a straight dismantling. I give Colby Covington credit for lasting the distance. He actually seemed like he rocked him a little bit in the 5th round where he slightly had a little chance. But, Usman is just too much. He looked like a stronger version of Anderson Silva out there.
That's so funny you say that. He has such a Silva fighting style to me. The way he maneuvers around the ring, the way the octagon, the way he just carries himself, his style when he really gets in the zone and doesn't back down. I really felt like I was watching a little bit of a Silva protege there. So I love that you just said that.
Yeah, it was very Silva-esque the way he was moving, but you can also see that he's a lot stronger. So you get into clinches, it's like, oh, that's not going to be your Achilles heel. You feel like if you can get Silva on the ground, then you can get him. You take Usman to the ground, he's too strong. He'll flip you, roll you. He might submit you on the ground. There's not really a weakness in his game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Usman, the way he's fighting right now, again, we talked about Canelo being the best boxer. Usman could arguably be the best fighter right now in the UFC, considering the Masvidal match, considering the Covington match now. And he's literally come out and said, I'm waiting for these guys to step up. I'm waiting to get a true competitor in this octagon with me. And he's not undershooting any of his opponents. But when you're coming out and saying, look, I'm waiting for anyone to step up. I don't have a name. Give me a name. Bring me the title defense. Bring me the bag. Bring me the main event. I'm here for it. That's how you know you're a badass, and anybody will be willing to fight you to defend that title. And Usman is just he's that guy right now, obviously.
Oh, absolutely, man. So, hey, it's been 1 hour. This thing's been rolling. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We reached the top of the hour. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Last week, he got the Dumbass of the Day award. This week, we're going harder. So make sure you keep it locked. Mike Beasley, take this thing away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, like always, we thank you so much for tuning in, being here with us tonight, and the Petty Sports guys at the table. Famous Facts, Adam Lewis doing their thizzle like every week here on Petty Sports, 8 o'clock, brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. Thank you so much. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you right here with us. You know what I'm saying? Because we way too sexy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man. So go to the different podcast platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart. Check them out. You know what I'm saying? Type in Petty Sports with a Z, Petty Sports. Hear all the old shows. This show will be out tomorrow, maybe Friday sometime. So stay tuned for that. You know what I'm saying? Type in on your Boxcast Smart TV, check us out over there. Type in Kingz Broadcast, you can watch us on the big screen. You know what I'm saying? Boxcast is a free app that you can have on your smart TV. If it's a smart TV, you just download that absolutely free app and then type in Kingz Broadcasting, and hey, you can watch the show right there. You know what I'm saying? At the crib, on the big screen, your man cave or your she shed. So thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. Do call in. Feel free to call in and give us your take on anything that's been discussed or what you may be thinking yourself. So 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can get at us. Be a part of the show tonight. We'd love to hear from you. Everybody's in the chat room. Keep it up. Do share the show. Just do us that big favor right there. Well, maybe 2 favors. Share the show and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Go to Petty Sports on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you like to watch at. You know what I'm saying? And join the crusade. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's the Petty Sports fam right here. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So anytime these guys go high, you will be notified, and you can tune in right away to what's going on and won't miss a beat. All right? You know what I'm saying? ATL, ho. You know what I'm talking about? Back to the regular scheduled program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You were live and direct for hour number 2 of Petty Sports, the podcast, brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. It's your boy, the host. They call me Famous Fees. They also call me Facts. I got my man Adam zooming in live from COVID land. Holla at him.
Virtual, baby. You already know what time it is. The show never, ever stops. Like I said, I had to pull my most un-Aaron Rodgers move. Be honest with y'all. Not be selfish and deceitful. Let the team know. Let the clients be protected in the studio. But I know we're about to dive into that bad man himself, Fees. So let's get rolling with the topic, man.
Man, Aaron Rodgers lied about his vaccination status, made claims about being allergic to the vaccine. In addition to talking about he did his own research and he talked to his own people about alternative methods to immunize himself. And now he's under massive scrutiny for it. So what are your thoughts on the recent A-Rod situation?
Well, for starters, this is no major surprise from Aaron Rodgers. We've seen him in the past. He cares about his image. He cares about his brand. He's always been a selfish guy, a deceitful guy. I think in this moment here, he's literally been a selfish, deceitful prick to the fans, to the team, to the whole community of Green Bay, because when you're supposed to be the leader of this team, which we know you can lead, okay? We've seen you at times step up to the plate. We've also seen you shrink in big moments as well. But I'll be a little easy here on A-Rod. I know you're going to go really ham over there, Fees. But A-Rod being a leader, we know that is something that he has as a trait. But when you talk about, the COVID season and how the NFL has been, last year, this year with the COVID protocols, you understand that this is a major part of the game now. Like people said before, you have to understand that, yes, You have a choice to not get vaccinated, but you also have a choice, or rather a decision, whatever the case may be. You have to face the music. You have to face the consequences, okay? And I just think the more Aaron Rodgers continues to talk about this situation, the stupider he looks. Straight up, the stupider he looks. Because now that you've been called out, you want to go and kind of take a shot at Kyrie Irving saying, I'm not a flat earther, anti-vaxxer. I'm actually allergic to the ingredient that's in the vaccine. Okay, A-Rod, that's fine. Why didn't you tell us this months ago? Why weren't we informed about this before you used the sketchiest word possible in the COVID-19 era that we're in with the NFL? I'm immunized. He didn't, people want to say he didn't technically not know. Yes, he did. He knew exactly what he was being asked, and he deviated from the truth. And I don't have a problem with the fact that you've built your team and researched this and found alternatives, and you're very happy about the way that's went into that. Check it out, A-Rod. I'm freaking happy for you too, dude. I'm happy that you were able, that you've got the means, that you've got the wealth to take care of your body in that fashion. But what do we always say? A hit dog hollers. And here's the thing. We didn't really even ask for any of this explanation, okay? We didn't ask for you to go into ridiculous detail and, I guess, tell us why you lied, but you chose to offer it up within the fact that, again, I just think he continues to look dumber as the situation goes on. But it's no surprise. Aaron Rodgers is in it for himself. We saw it in the offseason. He's in it for himself. He likes to be selfish. It's either Aaron Rodgers' way or no way or the highway. So my personal thoughts, it's just extremely selfish, but that's no surprise from Aaron Rodgers. This is what he does. This is on point with him.
Aaron Rodgers, Jesus Christ. Just like what you said, he said he's not an anti-vaxxer and not a flat earther. You really just tried to just equate yourself to Kyrie Irving? Like, he has nothing to do with your situation. No one said you were an anti-vaxxer. We said you were a liar. You said you're standing on your comments, so clearly that was no apology. You doubled down on the nonsense that you told everybody. But let's just rewind this just a bit. Aaron Rodgers was fined $14,650, and the Green Bay Packers were fined $300,000 for his attendance to a Halloween party that the team threw. That is a fine for one COVID protocol violation. Just one. The COVID protocols for the NFL said they will fine players that refuse to submit to testing $50,000. Last I checked, Aaron Rodgers ain't getting tested every day because he lied that he was vaccinated and the team didn't report that he wasn't vaccinated. So he hasn't been taking daily COVID tests, Cam. Yeah, somebody got kicked out the facility for 5 days for not taking their COVID tests in the right place. But this man been going now almost 10 weeks, not taking a single test, and he's getting this one fine. But let's go back to the actual NFL rules. It's a $14,650 fine to unvaxxed players who attend bars, concerts, sporting events, things of that nature. A report in August of this year said they had already fined 25 NFL players for failing to meet mask protocols. Subsequent occurrences will result in larger fines and, make sure you listen to this one, a suspension for up to 4 games without pay for violating the protocols. So now Aaron Rodgers did 8 weeks, and we're only talking about the mask violations in press conferences. You're doing 2 podium appearances, one before the game and one after the game, every week. So just for the 8 weeks, that's 16 violations so far, just on the media side. 16 of those violations times $14,650 is $234,000 worth of fines just for not wearing a mask in the press conferences. But they say you can get a max of 4-game suspension. And he has way more violations. He's been walking across the field, shaking players' hands, no mask, unvaccinated, ain't following none of the rules. The team should be fined more than $300,000. They should lose draft picks Aaron Rodgers should absolutely be suspended. It's ridiculous. You've got all these rules in place, and you actually have the punishments already mapped out and lined out. And this man is seriously about to play on Sunday? All you got was 10 days worth of quarantine and a fine for all of that violating. So how the hell could you turn around after this and act like anyone else has to follow your rules? So long as they got $14,000, they good. Just pay the fine. I mean, this is ridiculous on so many levels. You've crucified players. I mean, I've already mentioned Cam, but there are countless other players. Lamar Jackson has had to quarantine. He's caught COVID twice. Like, teams have been fine. The Raiders, the Broncos. It's a whole long laundry list of teams that have been hit for violating COVID protocols. And, like, his lie was covered up by the organization. This is a twofold thing. It's him and them.
It's huge.
He should be fined a ridiculous amount of money. Like, you need to go back and look at each instance, and the numbers that I projected to you are only based off the first-time offender fine. Right. They said the fine would increase for each subsequent violation. If it's going up each time, we shouldn't be seeing A-Rod play football until 2022.
Oh, that's deep. One thing I want to relate to there. So, it's not a shocker from Aaron Rodgers. But if the league also doesn't act, that's not a shocker as well, because we've seen Goodell, we've seen the NFL. It's a slap on the wrist for everybody. As much as it shouldn't be, that could potentially be the outcome. But you also mentioned a good point there. First let me get to this. When you enable someone for so long, and when you allow them to do it, when you basically feed a kid candy for breakfast and then tell them that they can't have candy, they're going to look at you like you're stupid. That's what the Packers have essentially been doing with Aaron Rodgers. This is what the NFL essentially does with their rules and protocols that they come up with. Because like you said, Fees, if anybody has $14,650, $15K, they're just going to violate. But if you're going to draw these rules and these documents up to not implement them, it's just going to be a worse rap on the NFL overall that we don't want to see you and I as heavy consumers of this league, of this product. So they definitely have to act. They have to be different than they've been in the past. But I'll just be honest with you. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to bet on it because, one, I like having money in my pocket, and two, I want to live to see the next show.
So check this piece out, though. Aaron Rodgers has apparently educated us all on how to immunize yourself outside of being vaccinated. Why that's interesting is because anytime any other player speaks out about anything that's unrelated to their sport, all of a sudden they're told to shut up and dribble, shut up and play. Yep. That's not your realm. You're not a doctor. You haven't done any research. You don't know anything about that. You're stupid. Where is the cancel culture? Cancel Aaron Rodgers. Get rid of him. I need him to get suspended, canceled, everything that it is that you possibly can do. Make an example out of him.
I agree. I as much as, and here's why the NFL won't do it. They're not going to take one of their major stars, the reigning MVP of the league, and do that to him. As much as they should, and as much as he does deserve a 4-game suspension for, you talked about 16 media violations with COVID. I guarantee you this dude has probably upwards of 30, 40 violations with not wearing masks, going out, shaking hands, like everything. It literally went from, here's one protocol because we think Aaron Rodgers is immunized/vaccinated. You're in a whole nother area now that he's actually not. We're talking about, a couple months of research potentially. If the NFL really wants to dig into this, and I couldn't blame them if they do, I agree with you, Fees. Make an example out of Aaron Rodgers.
It's a real bad look. If you look at the way that particular players have been approached about this, for you to let Aaron Rodgers slide, that just goes against everything that they've been trying to portray, that everything is equal and you have to follow the rules and the rules are the rules. Look, apparently they aren't the rules if it's Aaron Rodgers. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly. It's horrible. A bad look.
What if Aaron Rodgers had a little bit more melanin? Would he still be playing?
Please.
I'm just saying. All the other players that we've referenced don't look like Aaron.
Yeah.
Come on, NFL. Don't do this.
Yeah.
I need you to do more than a $15,000 fine and a slap on the wrist.
That's pocket change. That's hell. It's probably one Jeopardy paycheck for Aaron Rodgers. Well, whatever.
Like,
horrible.
They're possibly going to fine Mac Jones as much as he got fined for apparently twisting Burns' foot.
Stupid.
In the middle of a game where he fumbled and was trying to stop him from recovering the football.
Stupid.
I mean, lying about being vaxxed is, it's happened. You remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the NHL player that got suspended for 21 games for providing a fake vax card.
Ever?
Yeah.
Yep. On the same equivalent, and good for the NHL, on the same equivalent as hitting someone in the face with a stick.
Absolutely. But that falls along the same lines as what I just said. That NHL player that got suspended for 21 games, he's got a lot of melanin. They got to stop. Got to cut it out. It's ridiculous. But we're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers because he's going to make me really go off the deep end, and then y'all going to cancel me. We're going to circle back. We did not get to the dark horse Super Bowl teams for the NFL. We both got 3 of them for you. Adam, hit me with your third dark horse team.
Absolutely. At number 3, give me the Las Vegas Raiders, man. And the reason I say that is because the offense, we've seen how this team can perform at their peak. And they're not going to be, and this is why they're at my third spot, they're not going to be that super threatening team that a lot of people, or even a little bit of people, are going to look out for per se. But, we've seen Derek Carr, we've seen Darren Waller, and this team has been through so much between Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, John Gruden, the noise and overall, the chemistry of this team is, so the noise is kind of escalating, but the chemistry of this team, you start to wonder, is it going to be sustainable over the course of the season? Now, with the Raiders establishing their position in the division, and yes, I know they just lost to the Giants, and they've had some streaky games back and forth, but we are talking about dark horse Super Bowl teams. It was kind of tough to pick a third one for this list, but when I started to dig into it, Las Vegas Raiders at number 3 for a real dark horse Super Bowl team. No question.
Okay, I'm going to give you the super dark horse team that's never, ever won a Super Bowl before. I'm going to give you the Cincinnati Bengals as my third place dark horse Super Bowl team. The Cincinnati Bengals have shown that they can play with anybody in the league. They have the tools. They may have been figured out with them being extremely Jamar Chase heavy, but we've also seen them be in dogfights with the best teams in the NFL. So, if they're able to just reach within themselves and actually find that same team that came through and showed up like that week in and week out, if they can sneak into the playoffs, Cincinnati is not a team that you're actually going to want to see. They have nothing to lose. They're going to go out there and just play balls to the walls, no expectations, everything, put it on the table.
Yep.
So who you got at the 2 spot?
Number 2 is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, and Russell Wilson is finally coming back. We know that they have a wide receiving core. We know that the offense can really get going when it's on its best day. And I know the defense, I know a lot of people are going to say, what about the defense, Adam? What about what what are they going to do if it potentially comes to a shootout? I trust this team a little bit to win some of these shootouts that they could potentially get in. And I know the defense, again, like we just brought up, that could be the Achilles heel of them. But I think when you're talking about Russell Wilson coming back from injury, this team feels like they're in the dumps right now. Like, no one is talking about Seattle right now, and they might be one of the most loaded teams talent-wise that's sitting at a 3-5 record, that's sitting down there in their division. And a lot of people, again, have forgot about the Seattle Seahawks because there's no Russell Wilson. You got Geno Smith running the show. Some people are curious about Pete Carroll season in and season out. We talked about that a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can truly ignore all that talent that's sitting on a 3-5 Seattle team. They're about to get their best player. They're about to get their captain, their king, back underneath center. So I think the Seattle Seahawks could be a team to keep your eye on later on in the year.
I totally disagree with that. I'm going to take.
I could tell.
I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders as my number 2 dark horse team for all the reasons that you said. I mean, with the departure of John Gruden, with the whole Henry Ruggs saga, they have nowhere to go but up from here, and they are still sitting at 5-3, second place in the AFC West. If they can sneak into the playoffs, this could be a sneaky good team. They've got a lot to prove, a huge chip on their shoulder, new head coach. Like, I think the Raiders they're a dark horse for real, for real. You don't really want to see them. Who you got as your number one dark horse football team?
I'm going to clap it up for my boy Triple F. It's going to be the New England Patriots because I really trust Bill Belichick. I really trust that defense, and Mac Jones is continuing to improve week in and week out. Look, if the Patriots can make some sort of move, claim a guy off waivers, go grab an OBJ like you said, like I was shocked when you told me, Fees, they are 10th overall in offensive points per game. They're 4th overall in defensive points per game. So we're looking at another balanced team in the AFC, and yeah, their division is a little, well, it's really the Bills, the Patriots, and then everybody else in the division. We're not talking about the Dolphins. We're not talking about the Jets. And at the end of the day, when we talk about a team that's been there before with the chemistry, that's been there before with the culture, Bill Belichick, of course, is having a lot to do with this team. The defense is continuing to click. And if the offense, even though they are 10th overall in points per game, you know, as a diehard fan, there's room for improvement. You know that Mac Jones is continuing to take steps, and who knows? You know, we sat there on the NFL draft show. You know, we saw your reaction. I was shocked when Mac Jones got drafted. Is this the next guy for New England? I mean, let's seriously ask that question. Is Bill Belichick actually going to hand Mac Jones the keys to Foxborough for the next 12 to 15 years? That's not out of the question for me. We're talking about coaching that I trust later in the year. If we're talking about culture and defense that's really going to step up in a big spot, the offense can move along. They can get along as long as Bill and the defense are going to be the cornerstone of that team. So I got to keep my eye on the New England Patriots right now.
How about that? We agree on 2 out of 3 because, you know, I got New England as my top dark horse team, sitting at 5-4, second place in the AFC East. They got 2 games left against the Buffalo Bills. They're still not out of it to actually win the division. The defense is playing great football, just like we talked about, 4th in points allowed. It's very surprising that they're 10th in points scored, seeing as how stagnant the offense has looked in many games so far this season. But as Mac starts to progress, if they open the offense up and Mac Jones actually starts really putting points on the board, it's hard to score against them. So, I mean, they have a puncher's chance. So definitely as a dark horse, that's the number one sitting out there.
Yep. Cannot disagree with you, brother.
Oh, yes, man. Well, let's get into the top games of Week 10 before we make our predictions because this thing is moving. I think the time went back, but our time then got short. I don't know what's going on.
There's never enough time for us on the mic and the camera, brother.
I feel like somebody took some time away from me. So, man, let's jump into the first one. The New Orleans Saints versus the Tennessee Titans. It's Adam versus Wesley. Who wins this game?
Let me check the comments before I even start talking here. Hold on. Okay. Wesley had jumped in. He's probably over there timing so hard right now. Okay, so the spread in this game is -3. And I do have the Titans winning this game. As much as I want to take my Saints and I want to have the homer pick, the way that they are inconsistent this year, you can beat the Bucs, you can beat the Packers week 1, I know, but you're losing to the Giants in the Dome. You're losing to the Falcons in the Dome. The Saints have won 1 game this year, and not even in Mercedes-Benz, in the Caesars Superdome. That sounds horrible to say. It leaves a nasty taste in my mouth. But when you talk about Sean Payton and the coaching of this team and the way that this defense is, I think, going to be able to stall out a Titans offense that's kind of been rolling the last few weeks. But you also see the Titans defense that's trying to take these steps forward against a really minuscule pedestrian Saints offense. It's going to be a game, I think, of the trenches because you're going to have to wonder, okay, is that O-line going to hold up for Tennessee against a Saints, front 7 like that, who's, second in the league in rushing yards and rushing yards allowed per game. And we've seen how the Saints have played overall throughout the year. I do think the Titans are going to win this game. I just think they're the better team right now. I think they have the better offense. You can compare the defenses. The quarterbacking is better. New Orleans is going to continue to fall short until they get a quarterback in there. I'm behind my QB because it's my team, but I think the Titans win this game, no doubt.
I'm actually going to roll with your boys in this game because I don't have any faith in what the Tennessee Titans are actually cooking. The only reason they won that game Sunday night is because Matthew Stafford just straight up choked. I don't see the Saints turning the ball over that way. It's literally a ball security issue. If you hold on to the football and run the football, all they had to do was put 8 in the box. I mean, the run got shut down last week. The Rams gave up nothing. It was all on Matt Stafford. And in the carousel of quarterbacks that the Saints have, if they can rotate Taysom in to complement Simeon, all they have to do is put up about 24 points, and they should be able to hold the Titans because AP is rushing for nothing, and Ryan Tannehill cannot be trusted. Once you take a lead on him, Tannehill's going to give you the ball. Tennessee is going to, they are not going to continue backpedaling and limping into victories every single week. The downfall is going to start this week. Tennessee's favored by 3. They're going to lose. I don't even need the points. I got the Saints.
I don't think they'll cover the spread if they win, though, honestly. I think it's going to be a very, very tight football game. This is now twice that the Saints have played the Titans. The last 2 times they played, Saints have went to play the Titans, and both times the Saints have not seen Derrick Henry. Very interesting to look at.
Oh, yeah, it is quite. That's very interesting. So now we'll move on to our next game. The Cleveland Browns at the New England Patriots. What's the spread on that game?
The spread on this game here, let me take a look at it. So like Patriots are actually -2. Patriots are going to be -2 in this game. And this is a tough pick because the Patriots are obviously gaining steam, but also the Browns are gaining steam. We've seen this Browns offense over the past couple of weeks, and the defense as well. They're just starting to finally mesh together to be that 11-5 team that we saw last year. And again, you and I have talked about it, Fees, with the expectations underneath the Cleveland Browns at the end of the day. But what is Baker Mayfield going to be against its Patriots defense, against a Bill Belichick, against a good pass rush, against a good secondary? That's always the question to be seen. I feel like this game is and you know, with New England being favored by 2, it was kind of a shocker to me. But again, Vegas is onto something. We've seen both of we've seen the way that both of these teams are going to be trending. But I think this game is going to come down to a big play will have to be made by somebody. And I don't think it's going to be Baker Mayfield. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be Mac Jones. But if we're talking about just who do I trust more, this feels like a high-stakes game right now in the AFC. The AFC is absolutely loaded right now compared to the NFC. So when you talk about this being a game that both of these teams absolutely need to win, I'm going to take the Patriots here. They have the better coaching. I think they're just going to play overall better, sound, put-together football than the Cleveland Browns, and I think they take the W here at home.
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's really going to be a matter of coaching. The schemes that New England will come with on defense are going to be a lot for Baker. You're definitely going to see 8 in the box because New England's – I mean, this has been it's been their thing for years to take away your best weapon. They're going to put 8 in the box and make sure that Nick Chubb is not the one that beats them. I mean, it's going to probably look similar to the Dallas-New England game, where it's like, all right, they're going to take away the running game and force Baker to throw the ball. Baker is not anywhere near the same stratosphere as Dak Prescott, but that team is really good, so this should be a very tight football game. I'm going to have to get blood pressure pills, even though I don't have high blood pressure. I'm going to need to take one before we watch this game, but I think Baker Mayfield will, in true Baker fashion, throw a late-game interception to J.C. Jackson, and that'll prove to be the difference in a football game. I think New England will win, and they'll cover because Baker will throw the pick that will ultimately doom the Cleveland Browns. And I told you who will get it. So if you're betting on prop bets, your FanDuel, whatever I don't know, but DraftKings, all of that, go ahead and bet on that. J.C. Jackson, game-winning interception. Book it. Now we got the Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers.
It's going to be a heck of a game, man. So, and the reason I think so is because I know the Vikings, first of all, they take everybody to the wire. I think they're already, their 8-9 weeks of play, they haven't had a game decided by 5 points or more. They usually coming down to the last second, maybe going to overtime. We just saw it with the Ravens, whatever the case may be with the Minnesota Vikings. But they remind me a lot of how the Panthers were last year. They're not going to have a great record. They're not going to play a complete 4 quarters of football, but they will give you a run for your money for about 65, 70% of that game before there's a couple key decisions to where they don't perform and the other team, the opponent, is going to take away the victory. The Vikings are such a physical team. They're such a hard-playing team. And we've seen that if you get that way with the Chargers, look at the game against the Patriots. Look at the game against the Patriots last year. When you can throw them the physicality and the different schemes that Mike Zimmer might bring to the table for this Vikings team, who knows how Justin Herbert's going to play? I don't think Justin Herbert's going to play a bad game. I think he'll be decently comfortable. He'll have a good Justin Herbert type of game. But if we're talking about how this game is going to truly fare out, I will have the Chargers winning it at the end of the day. What is our spread here real quick? So Chargers are actually -2.5 at home. I can see them covering that spread. Now, if the spread was 4-5, I'd probably back off of that. I will have the Chargers winning, though. I think their offense overall will overpower that Vikings defense. I think, the defenses will be comparable on both sides. But like I said, the Vikings are one of those teams, they might only have a few wins on their record, but they love to play smash mouth football. They love to take it to the end. That's why this will be a good game. But I will take the Chargers winning this one.
The Minnesota Vikings have been playing extremely tough football week in and week out. Almost every team they've matched up against, the game has come down to a last-second field goal, if not overtime. They've lost very close and devastating games to a bunch of good football teams. I don't think it'll be any different. I think the Minnesota Vikings will probably come out and take an early lead in this game, and they'll be winning down the stretch, and they will find a way, as they have every single week, to lose the game. 2.5 points might actually be a lot, because I can see the Chargers winning this game on a late-game field goal to go up by 1 point. I wouldn't touch the spread because of the way Minnesota plays, but I'm not taking Minnesota to win that game. I think the Chargers will win a nail-biter. So last game, on the best games of Week 10, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers. Apparently Russell Wilson is back, and apparently Aaron Rodgers is playing. Who you got in this one?
This is going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be a really fun game to watch. I think it could be maybe the best game of the weekend. So you have Russell Wilson coming back from his injury, probably the most motivated player in the NFL right now, considering, how he kind of left his team hanging, even though they were underperforming when he did get injured. This is a new life. This is a new breath of fresh air, at least in this part of the season, for the Seattle Seahawks. And you talk about the Packers. Yeah, they just had a tough loss with Jordan Love being under center. But if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, you're going to see more of Aaron Jones. You're going to see more of Devontae Adams. You're going to see more of, just spreading the ball around in general to make more plays for this Packers team. Now, this also, and I know some people were saying in the comments, we're talking about pick 'em games, really just take your pick. Either one could take this. I feel like this is one of those games. And I know Seattle doesn't have an amazing defense, but I think you could say, not even that you could say, I will say that Seattle's offense with Russell Wilson coming back will be better than that Packers offense in this one. But here's the thing. The Packers actually have a defense now that can contend for a chip, that can actually make some sort of run and maybe take you to the promised land like the Packers have been wanting to do since their Super Bowl win years ago. This is such a hard pick for me, man. You know what? I'm going to go the field. I will take the Seahawks with the upset in this game. Russell Wilson's going to have a hell of a game his first game back. They're just going to feel rejuvenated. And people, I think, are going to start talking about the Seahawks probably being prisoners of the moment, overhyping them at the time because they'll have beaten a good Packers team, which the Packers aren't bad. But I don't think I truly see them as a Super Bowl threat at the end of the year. I will take the Seahawks here, though, to win this game in Russell Wilson's first game back.
Yeah, for all in-game analysis, there's no logical explanation to say that the Seahawks should beat the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are better in all facets of the game. They have Aaron Rodgers. They've got Aaron Jones. Their defense is playing lights out. They've got Devontae Adams. And all of that being said, I'm just going to go all the way against the grain for all the analysis. Said that Seattle is going to come in and play a very inspired game. Russell Wilson is back. DK Metcalf has a monster game. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a repeat of week 1 coming off of all of this drama. he will have another one of the worst games of his entire career. I think the Seattle Seahawks will go into Lambeau and take the W off of Aaron Rodgers because he should not be playing. And in the great words of my man Rasheed Wallace, the ball don't lie. The Seahawks going to come give it to you.
That's right.
Doesn't matter who they was playing. I was going to take the other team. So, before we get into the picks for the week, one more time, we got to throw this thing over to my man Mike Beasley. He got to let you know who pays the bills around here at Kingz Broadcasting. Take that thing away.
Yeah, appreciate that. Facts. Like always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in like you do every Wednesday at 8 o'clock to check out the Petty Sports Show brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studio. You know what I'm saying? You here with Famous Facts, Adam Lewis, and the rest of the team behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Doing what we do. We appreciate you tuning in. The show is almost coming to a close here in the next 25, 23 minutes or so. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody that's been in the chat room chopping it up with your opinions and your takes on the different topics. Yo, feel free to call in. Still got some more time left. 678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. We appreciate you guys. Without no you, there is no us. Feel free to go to kingsbroadcasting.com. Hit that donate button. Spend some money. No donation is too small. No donation is too great. We thank you for everyone that has given. And if you haven't, please consider doing so. And subscribe on the YouTube page. Go to the Petty Sports page and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Leave your comments. Let us know what you're thinking about the show and what's going on. And maybe give us a request or two, you know what I'm saying, or something you might want to see the guys cover or talk about. We greatly appreciate your input. So thank you so much. Support black business, support black businesses, because we do ATL. Hold back to the regular schedule program.
Yes, sir. It's the time of the evening that you always wait for. We got to make these picks. Apparently, my picks just ain't been that good. I know Adam has the rundown on the picks. What do we look like for last week?
Yeah, man. So I want to say here, I'll actually have to
5-8. That's not accurate.
Are you talking about your picks there? Let's see. No, man. Oh, is it not? I might have goofed. No, 5, 8, 13, 7, 6. No, that's right. I cross-checked them.
You did me in.
What now?
You did me in. I wasn't that bad.
Man, I wasn't that great either. You see, last week I was 7-6. Apparently, Fees might or might have not been 5-8. But it was a weird week, man. I mean, I saw it in the pick'ems.
6 and 7.
8 games. 8 games, 1 year pick'ems. I saw there on Facebook, dude. So Giants with a big upset, of course. That Bears pick. I thought about picking the Bears there, but either way, you know, Falcons had the upset, Jags had the upset, Browns won big. So those were some of the big ones there that threw off the records. But man, Fees, let's get into these picks, man. Let's make it better this week because that was definitely our worst week yet. But I think we got some better games, some more predictable games rather coming up on the schedule.
Oh, absolutely. I'm still gonna have to cross-check that. Like 5-8, I know that's wrong.
He's so concerned. Now look, bro. My check mark was here, not here.
No, I got 6. You stole a pick. It's still not good, but you stole one.
I'm sorry. What did I get wrong there?
I was 6-11. You killed me on the which one was it? I don't know. I think you might have actually just made the total wrong.
Did I? Man, I butchered it, didn't I? Yikes.
It's very possible.
4, 8, 12. No, there were 13 games. I just didn't get the your actual number of picks right. And the season records are right too. Still plenty of
I don't know. We're gonna have to revise all of that. Adam tried me. He's already winning, but he wanted to make himself be winning by more. He's lied to the public. Just like that's why he's on COVID protocol because he's been Aaron Rodgers-ing us.
Protocol. I'm pulling a full A-Rod tonight.
Adam Aaron Rodgers Lewis.
Oh, geez, bro.
Don't discount double check me.
All right. That's what was happening. You ain't lying, man.
We're going to start off with tomorrow night's game. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is questionable for tomorrow night's game. Who do you like?
I love the Ravens in this game. No major explanation needed here. Tua is questionable, so who is Jacoby Brissett going to be against this Ravens defense? Now the Ravens do let you throw the ball on them. They do have a bottom 3 defense against the pass, but this is the Ravens we're talking about against the Dolphins. I think Lamar Jackson will come out and have a good game. The Dolphins are plus 7.5, so I do take the Ravens here to cover that spread. It's a safe bet. Take the Ravens here to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't matter what quarterback that Miami was toting out to the field. They're not going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Even if they come out and play the best game of their entire season, it'll just take one of those Lamar Jackson great second half performances, and that'll be enough to beat the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens, and even in that unlikely scenario, I don't think this game is going to be that close. Baltimore will cruise to victory. It's not going to be nice. Now we got the New Orleans Saints at the Tennessee Titans. Now, that was one of our games of the week.
Yep.
Who are you taking? Are you going to stick with your pick? Or are you going to go back to homerism?
I am going to stick with the Tennessee Titans here. I just think they're going to win the game at the end of the day. They clearly have the better offense. Like I said, the defenses can be comparable. Now, if Sean Payton will actually come out and not try to outthink the room, have his head on his shoulders and just understand that the Saints really need this win because the Falcons are right on your tail, 1 at the 7 seed, but they're also right behind you in the division as well as a rival. I mean, oddly enough, if the Saints would have won in a crazy week of the NFL, they would have bumped quite a bit up in the NFC standings. But either way, I just think the Titans are the better football team right now. The Saints are just literally scalping for a quarterback. I don't care if we're flopping back and forth between Simeon and, Ian Book and Taysom Hill. The quarterback position is very shaky, arguably one of the worst in the league, along with having virtually no pass catchers. I can't say enough, I guess, negative things about my team right now. I do have the Titans win this one, but they will not cover your spread.
I mean, just for all the reasons I told you before, I'm taking the New Orleans Saints to win this game. I think the defense is going to be overwhelming for the Tennessee Titans. They don't have a run game without Derrick Henry, and that was painfully obvious last week. The Saints will shut that down. It's going to make playing defense on the perimeter a lot easier for them to blanket the wide receivers and really test Ryan Tannehill. When he doesn't have a running game and no play action, he's not that good. He's going to be the same quarterback of what we saw at the Miami Dolphins when we all thought that he didn't deserve to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's about to revert back to that, and the Saints will beat the Titans. Mark my words on that. Adam is going to have to come on here and eat crow that I picked his team to win, and he did not. He's over here eating W's like famous Jameis. So now we can call him Discount Double Check Crab Leg Winston.
Horrible.
So, man, we got another garbage game on the slate. It's like we either got really good games or really bad games.
You're not lying, though.
The Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Mike White is starting one more time. And I don't know how Mike White has gained a following. Yeah, one good game, all of a sudden they're like, it's Mike effing White. Like, what? Where did that come from? That's become a thing. I mean, who you got in this game?
Bills will definitely win this one. Now, with the Bills just losing to the Jaguars, there's going to be some bettors out there that are going to take the New York Jets. I don't think that's going to be the case for the Bills here. Now, I know they're on the road. They're favored by 13 points. I'm almost tempted to not take that spread for Buffalo, but Buffalo is clearly the better team than New York right now. They could easily cruise past them. They're better on all aspects, offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Not going to dig too much into this one. There are going to be your wise guys out there that pick the upset. And oddly enough, I can't contest them super hard on it because of how Buffalo just played, but I'm not going to outthink the room. I will take the Buffalo Bills here to win and cover the spread of 13 points against the Jets.
I mean, Buffalo will absolutely cover that spread. It's not even too big a spread. The Jets are a very bad football team, and I know you're like, oh, well, so was the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bills, they just had their blunder. All week in practice, they're going to be getting crucified. When they come out against the New York Jets, they're going to be clicking on all cylinders. Josh Allen will not look bad. The defense actually didn't play bad. They only gave up 9 points. It wasn't the defense's fault. They had 12 penalties for 118 yards last week. They clean up the ridiculous penalties, and the offense starts to click in. They should beat the Jets handily. They'll win that game by 20-plus with no problem. The spread is probably too low. Just because of last week is why you're getting that spread. And for the people who are talking about betting with the Jets because they think that they shouldn't beat them that bad if they didn't beat Jacksonville, you can go ahead and cash at me your money. It's not happening. Now we got the Detroit Lions coming off a bye week, headed to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. Who do you like in this one?
Definitely the Steelers here. Steelers at home, they're -9. I do take them to cover the spread. The Lions are 0-8. I mean, they're just trying to scrape by at this point. Now, we have seen them take a couple of teams close, or not even a couple of teams. I think maybe one or two, maybe just one. Talking about the Baltimore Ravens there. But, I mean, it's the Detroit Lions that we're talking about here. They're going to get the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Who knows? They might be looking for a Spencer Rattler or Kayvon Thibodeau. Who knows? Nothing really to dig in here. The Steelers are just going to look for another nice home W, and they're going to win this football game and cover the spread of 9 points, no doubt.
I mean, I think that spread might be big. I mean, Detroit is probably the best bad team in the league. Sitting at 0-8, no one will pick them to win. They're not going to go 0-17. There's going to be a game on this schedule that they win where you're like, man, how did they even do it? This Pittsburgh game absolutely might be it. I'm not going to take the Lions to win the game, but I think this game is going to be really tight. I absolutely don't see Pittsburgh covering the spread. I think with a week off, they've got a gut check and a reality check. They're like, we are professional football players. This team plays hard week in and week out. Pittsburgh has a scoring deficiency. So I think this Detroit Lion team will be able to keep up with them. I don't think they'll win ultimately at the end, but this will be a very close Pittsburgh 2-point win. They're not covering, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Detroit actually beats them. And I know Jamila is rolling over in a grave that she's not in right now, but your team is not that good. Detroit is going to show up against you. So now we got the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Indianapolis Colts. Who you like in this one? Think the Jaguars got some momentum?
They could potentially, because the spread here is -10.5. Indianapolis is, of course, favored at home. I will take the Colts to win. I don't think that they'll cover the spread because it's a division rival 1 and 2. Yeah, I think the Jaguars will have a little bit of momentum coming into this game, but we know the Colts are the better team all the way around. Quarterback, offense, defense, coaching, special teams, like I just said with the other game that we just spoke about here. I just don't see, the Jaguars being able to overpower the Colts in any way, shape, form, or fashion in this game. So I can't even go any further. I've got the Colts winning this one here, but I don't think they cover the spread only because the Jaguars are deep in the film room right now. They're looking at what they did to Buffalo, and obviously the Colts are not Buffalo, so we'll see what could happen. Now, Jonathan Taylor might put a bruising on them. That is what I have to say about that.
What's the spread on this?
-10.5.
-10.5. I think they can cover it. The Colts will they'll cover it just with the running game. I mean, Buffalo dropped the ball on so many levels and had so many penalties. I mean, the Colts offense really isn't that prolific, but the Jaguars defense is nothing to write home about. If they come out and play a game clean of penalties, there's no way Jacksonville stays in this football game. I think the Colts will get up early and the game will get ugly. So it really should be easily over 10.5. The Colts will cover that spread. The Jaguars are not good. Last week was an anomaly, and it was really a testament to how inconsistent Buffalo is. I'm not taking Jacksonville to have that type of game against any other good team the entire season. That was their one. Now we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington football team. You know how hard it was to not call them the Skins? Goodness.
Hey, we still slip a little bit sometimes. You know what's funny is I hear people like on national radio and TV sometimes still using that, and I'm like, you gonna get a little talking to after the show? You might.
No, if Aaron Rodgers didn't, they won't.
Bucks at Washington, though. Washington's plus 9.5. This is a rematch of the Super Wildcard weekend where Taylor Heineke burst onto the scene, per se. But the Bucks will win this one. They'll cover the spread. Tom Brady's coming off of a bye. And I'll even go bold. The Bucks will probably drop 50 points in this game. Washington is a bottom 3 team, bottom 5 team in the NFL. The offense is horrible in yards per game. The defense is horrible in yards per game, points given up per game. I could really see the Bucks winning this game at a clip of like 52-7. It's going to be very ugly, especially with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians coming off the bye week.
It should be ugly, but I think Brady will come out of the game in the fourth quarter, and that's why they won't drop 50 on them. I think it'll be more like a 42-10 type of game, just because they'll put a field goal on the board at the end of the game.
Everybody.
I mean, it won't even be respectable, but we're not going to see Tampa starters after about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're all going to be on the sideline sipping Mai Tais and doing Instagram posts because that's what they do.
Eating Skittles.
So they going to call Marshawn?
Facts.
All right, man. We got the Browns and the Patriots.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a good game here. Patriots -2, of course. Damn, I almost couldn't remember my pick from earlier, but I am going to stick with the Patriots. They just got a lot of energy going on right now. And, this Browns offense is going to try to give them a run for their money. But again, I'm so shocked at how balanced your New England Patriots are right now. They're a very quiet team in the league. But I will say this. When they win this football game, a lot of people are going to be talking about New England. And, they're just going to start getting their recognition. They're just going to start getting that energy around them. I do have the Patriots to win here. I'm really going to like Bill Belichick over Kevin Stefanski, even though that will be a lot better of a coaching matchup than people think. Patriots win here. Bet your money. And Pats Nation, baby.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely sticking with the Patriots in this game. I think it's going to be a really tight game. Even though they will be able to neutralize what Cleveland is doing, that's still a very good football team. And their defense is good enough to get a lot of pressure on Mac Jones, so it won't be a very high-scoring football game. It's going to be an intense defensive battle, which I think will ultimately end, just like I told you, Baker Mayfield throwing an interception to J.C. Jackson to seal the game for New England. Tight, hard-fought win. That's what it's going to be. Take that prop bet. Now we've got the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Who you got in this one in the rematch of the onside kick game?
Oh, Jesus. Can't forgive the Falcons for that. We're just going to look at the ball. Anyways, so Falcons and Cowboys. Cowboys are -9 here. They're playing at Jerry World. They're going to get the victory. Now, I don't think they cover the spread. That is a huge spread for a Falcons team that, they might have just choked it away almost at the end. But they played great for 3.5 quarters, especially in that Saints game. We're able to minimize the Saints and really take advantage of that good Saints defense that we've seen throughout the year. The Cowboys, like I said, they are going to win this game, though I don't think they cover the spread. But they're looking for that bounce-back game. They're looking for that rebound game. They just got absolutely embarrassed, basically shut out. A bunch of garbage time and filler stats for the Cowboys at that point. So they're looking for a bounce-back victory here, and I think they do beat the Atlanta Falcons this week and take home the W.
I think they beat the Falcons handily. Between Zeke will have a very big game. I think Trayvon Diggs will have a pick. He might just have a pick 6 in this game because Matt Ryan does not have the double move pump and go in his repertoire. So the Cowboys will get up, and then the defense will be able to play downhill with the lead, just like what Mike Fry was talking about. And it's going to be more of the domination, and we're going to hear a whole lot more of we them boys. That's what we'll get. Cowboys win, and they cover. Now we got the Panthers and the Cardinals. We got to move. We ain't got but like 5 minutes.
No worries, man. Cardinals are -10 here. I think Cardinals win. Hopefully they have Kyler and Nuke Hopkins back. This is the best team in the NFL. The Panthers are absolutely falling off a cliff. Sam Darnold was fool's gold along with this team. I don't care if they don't have Christian McCaffrey. They're playing like dog doo-doo right now. Cardinals win and cover the spread.
Oh, absolutely. The Cardinals will win this game. They're going to win handily. Like, Sam Darnold might actually get benched for this game, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's playing for them. They're not beating Arizona. Arizona will leave this week 9-1. Now we got the Minnesota Vikings at the LA Chargers.
Chargers do win this game here, absolutely -2.5. And it's funny, I don't remember if I said earlier if they were going to cover the spread. I'll take them to cover, though. I really don't remember if I said it earlier or not. Chargers, though, -2.5. They're just a better team than the Vikings right now. But it is going to be a close game, but they'll cover the spread just barely. Chargers take the W here.
Yeah, I've got the Chargers winning this game by 1 point on a late-game field goal. Like, it's going to be very tight. The Minnesota Vikings play everyone close. They're not getting ran off the field by anybody, but they do know how to lose football games. I'm taking the Chargers. Now we got the Seahawks and the Packers.
Packers are -5 at home. I am going to take the Seahawks with the upset, though. Like I said, I think Russell Wilson coming off the injury. This team really feels like they've been forgotten about in a loaded NFC West and a really weak NFC conference right now. That's why I did mention them as a little Super Bowl dark horse team there. But Russell Wilson's going to be looking to come back, have a big game. Even if the Packers were to win, I don't think they would cover that spread. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to upset the Packers here in Lambeau. And maybe we'll hear the Seahawks get talked about a little more here.
Oh, yeah, I just told you I'm taking the Seahawks in this game. Russell Wilson is going to come out and blaze them. DK Metcalf's going to have a big game. I think Aaron Rodgers straight up wets the bed after this whole debacle and all of his nonsense. Since he's not getting suspended, he's going to play like garbage. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Denver Broncos. Who are you taking here?
Broncos here are -2.5, if I'm not mistaken. Man, the chat's going off here in Facebook. So Broncos are -2.5. I think the Broncos win this game. Now, we could have a potential upset for the Philadelphia Eagles. This actually does feel like a tough pick. It could be a pick 'em, but I'll take the Broncos here to win this game. They're at home. They're -2.5. I can't necessarily say they are the better team, but that defense could stifle out that Eagles offense, so I will take the Broncos to win here.
The Eagles were a play away from beating the Chargers last week and making me right, and they should have won the game. I think they will rebound, and I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to go to Denver and win this football game, a la Jalen Hurts. His ability to stretch and actually extend plays, I think, will be too much, and they will beat Denver. We got the Chiefs.
You know what? First ever pick change. I'm taking the Eagles as well. I wanted to before I spit out the Broncos. I'm taking the Eagles too. I just think the Eagles will actually win.
Come on board. All right, then.
Here I am.
We got 2 more games, and we got 2 minutes. Chiefs, Raiders. Let's go. What you got?
Chiefs, Raiders. Raiders +2.5. I think the Chiefs win here. Big divisional matchup. Both of these teams are trying to fight for a certain spot in that division. Chiefs are just going to come out and blaze it up, I think. I think the Raiders as well. This could be a shootout. We could be talking about 30, 40-plus points for each team here. I will take Mahomes over Carr. I will take Andy Reid over the interim coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I just think the Chiefs are able to light it up here. And I think they'll cover the spread as well.
They're playing at Allegiant Stadium. I'm taking the Raiders. It's an emotional game. I'm giving it to Las Vegas. They beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs are good. They'll definitely beat this reeling Chiefs team that nobody has any faith in. Give me the Raiders all day. Last game of the slate, and we got to get up out of here real quick. Rams, 49ers, Monday Night Football. Who you got?
Rams are favored by 4. I'll take the Rams. They will cover the spread. Matthew Stafford's going to rebound. The Niners are not good. They're reeling. Kyle Shanahan needs to be fired after the season. LA Rams all day.
Exactly. Kyle Shanahan is on a hot seat. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing for an actual contract. Everything about the 49ers is desperate, and that's why I'm taking the 49ers to win at home. They need this game more than you need air to breathe. The 49ers are going to take this game all day long. We probably got about 20 seconds left on this thing. We got to get out of here. We appreciate all of y'all for tuning in, as we do every week. We got Adam zooming in. COVID-y as hell. That's what's up. He still came in, made it happen. We love all y'all. Adam, take us out of here.
Absolutely. For the record, guys, I don't have COVID. I was just feeling a little odd. I'll be back in the studio next week. I just wanted to consider everybody, like I said, pull my most un-Aaron Rodgers move possible. It's been a great show. Gary, Mike, y'all did absolutely great. Get me virtually into the show. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. A like, comment. It's not about where Petty Sports is. It's about where you listen to the show every day, every week, every hour, every second. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. We out.
Very